In this video, I am going to discuss the first chapter of Class 7 Bio, that is Plant and Animal Tissues. You have studied that cell is the structural and functional unit of life. All the living organisms, plants and animals are made up of tiny microscopic cells. The cell, whether that of a unicellular organism or a multicellular organism, consists the living substance, and that living substance is called protoplasm. You have also learnt that there are various organelles present inside the cell. These organelles are arranged in a highly organized manner to perform specific functions. Cells organize to form tissues, and tissues organize to form organs. Further, organs organize to form organ system. The organ systems are present in both plants and animals of higher groups. Thus, one can say that the bodies of plants and animals are organized structures, and hence they are called organisms. Now, tissues. All multicellular organisms like animals and plants start their life as a single cell. Single cell means the fertilized egg or zygote. The fertilized egg divides repeatedly to produce thousands, millions, or billions of cells. Some of these cells form skin, some form muscles, and some other forms bones. Still some other forms blood. So now I am going to give the definition of a tissue. You can note it down. A group of cells which are similar in structure and perform a specific function is called tissue. Few examples are here. Number 1, the surface cells of the skin form one tissue. Example number 2, the cells constituting muscles are contractile and constitute the muscle tissues. So now let's discuss kinds of tissues. There are basically two kinds of tissues, plant tissues and animal tissues. So first, let's discuss about the plant tissues. Plant tissues are basically of two kinds, meristematic and permanent tissues. Meristematic tissues. So first, we will divide this topic in three groups. Number 1, structure. Number 2, location. And number 3, function. When you divide it like this, it will be very easy to learn. Clear? So now, first, the structure of meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissues are made up of actively dividing cells. Clear? The function is to produce more cells, leading to the growth of the plant body. Clear? Another function of meristematic tissue is the growth in the thickness of stem is also because of the meristematic tissues. And third, location means where it is found. So meristematic tissues are found at all growing points in a plant, like the tip of roots, stems, and branches, where growth in length occurs. Now I am going to discuss the characteristics of meristematic tissues. Clear? So the first is the cells are small. Second, the cell walls are thin. Third, the nuclei are large and conspicuous. Fourth, the cells are almost without vacuoles. And fifth, the cells actively divide to add new cells. Clear? So this all is about the meristematic tissues. So what you have studied in this: structure of meristematic tissues, function of meristematic tissues, location of meristematic tissues, and characteristics of meristematic tissues. Clear? Now next, permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are also called as non-dividing tissues. Clear? Like meristematic tissues are responsible for the division, for the growth, whereas permanent tissues are what? Non-dividing. The permanent tissues form the bulk of the plant body. These tissues do not divide. They become specialized and remain same throughout their life. New cells are formed when the meristematic cells divide. These newly formed cells grow, mature, and get differentiated into various types of permanent tissues. Permanent tissues do not divide further. A permanent tissue is a group of cells in which growth has either stopped completely or for the time being. So this is the definition of a permanent tissue. What is the definition? A permanent tissue is a group of cells in which growth has either stopped completely or for the time being. Permanent tissues can be classified into two main types: simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Clear? So simple permanent tissue, the function of, if you have to write one function of simple permanent tissue, then you will write it provides support and protection. Clear? Just one line is enough to write the function of simple permanent tissue. And one function of complex permanent tissue, then you will write it conducts nutrients and water. Clear? So in one line you can mention the function of simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Okay, so now in detail about the simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue I'll discuss in the next video. Till then,